Hair of the dog, hair of the toast, and hair of the bone, which doesn't sound as great. I wish I hadn't said that.
Hair of the bone is not great. Tongue sandwich and like corned beef.
Anyone else getting turned on?
Ange might leave Dish and come and be your, personal chef.
Or I might become your personal guitar player.
Yes!
Yes!
Now we're talking. Hello, welcome to Dish from Waitrose. I'm Nick Grimshaw.
And I'm Angela Hartnett.
And today we are joined by a musical legend.
Oh, God, such a legend.
One of, if not the, undisputed king of rock. From Queens of the Stone Age, make some noise for Josh Homme, everybody! Yes! Woo! Yeah!
Yeah.
Hi, Josh.
I'm
Hey.
so happy to be here.
Thank you.
Yeah, I am. This is great.
Well, we're very excited you're here.
Well, but also I've had a few drinks already. You've given me a few drinks.
Yeah.
I don't really know where I am.
Yeah. But he's here.
It's very relaxed.
Well, do you know what?
together.
We've got quite the menu, in your honor. We're starting with tequila because we heard you like tequila. We're also having something which we rarely do, Ange, which is a starter, but not any old starter. There's a
history.
There's a bone on my plate.
Yeah. Because we know
Dear
I've got
life.
one to pick with you, darling.
So tell us what we've got in front of us, Ange, and why.
You're big fans of, you're great friends with Anthony Bourdain.
Yeah.
And then he, again, was great friends with Fergus Henderson, who is a great dear friend of mine.
Right.
And I know this is Fergus's dish with the bone marrow, and it was one of Anthony's last dishes. That's what he wants to eat,
Yeah.
And so we've done it in Anthony's honour and your honour,
man,
which is a bone marrow with a parsley and shallot salad with capers and salt on the side, and then you've got your toasted toast there, your sourdough.
Toasted toast.
Toasted
Ah.
toast.
Yeah.
Revolutionary.
Yes, exactly.
So how do you toast
I've
the
had
toast?
But I've never had anyone double down and do it.
Just get used to it. It's going to
this
be like
must
this
be
all
working.
day. Yeah.
Yeah, so the toast is toasted.
Cheers.
But yeah, cheers. And then we've gone
Cheers.
for a Corvette Summer, which is tequila, grapefruit, a little bit of lime, and a little bit of tonic water.
It's very
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
not
Really nice.
necessarily
It's a bit more
tequila
like a
fan, but this is
vibey
good.
vibe.
I know this is going to sound dark, but it's actually not. It's making me really happy. But my other best mate, Rio, who's no longer with us
Yeah.
either, that was his drink, the Corvette Summer.
Oh, wow.
And so you're really killing me here.
Wow.
No,
We don't want to upset you.
No, not at all. It's not.
Yeah.
I don't think of it that way. It's actually making me really happy.
Good.
Oh, good.
Yeah. It's
Well,
love.
to absent friends. And
Yeah,
to
cheers.
those,
Yeah.
to those that are with us here now and can't be with us anymore. Right?
Yeah, that was a
Oh,
good
love
cheers.
that.
Well, welcome, Josh.
Yeah,
Thank you.
welcome. Loving this drink.
That is
there.
a goodie.
Right?
Do you want to
Yeah.
get into this? Should we try
Have
this
some
out? Should we
toasty
eat?
toast?
Let's do
Toasted
this.
toast. Yeah,
Yeah.
Josh, you take the toasted toast.
So what do you toast it with? A toaster?
Oh, here we go.
You're not going to live that one down.
I know there's a lot of really intense tech here in the kitchen
Yeah.
in Britain.
Very, very technical, this cooking malarkey. Anyway, wait till I see Fergus.
That made you-
He'll just nod at me like this and squint.
That
and
made you
shake
go
his
back
head.
to the
Yeah.
Corvette Summer. I can see
Oh,
this
yeah.
is gonna. So shall I just go ahead and
get
take
involved.
You know
the
what
water
you're
slide?
doing.
Yeah,
You know
go
what
for
you're
it.
doing.
When did you first have the bone marrow, Josh?
Oh, I had it to survive after the plane crash. It was the only thing I could do. Sorry, is that funny? No, I had it as a kid, and it was a shocker because there it is, bone and all, and I had no idea you could get in there and get in the guts, so to speak.
Yeah.
Go for it.
And fat is my favorite flavor. I don't know if I told you that.
Yeah.
A little goes a long way in
Yeah,
terms
of
of being
course.
satisfied.
My dad would have a tongue sandwich and corned beef and what else would he have?
Anyone else getting turned on? Sorry, you were saying.
But I never had bone marrow until I
No.
went to Fergus's restaurant to
Yeah.
St. John, and I love this. Sometimes I crave this. I don't want it.
Yeah.
I need it.
You
Yeah.
need it.
Like sometimes I
Funny
need
about
it.
that is like the body,
Yeah.
and being that I'm completely hungover and was up all night last night, it's like the perfect bread and
Ticking
bone
so
marrow.
many boxes for you.
Yeah.
Really is good.
Hair of the dog, hair of the toast,
Yeah.
and hair of the bone, which doesn't sound as great. I wish I hadn't said that.
Hair of the bone is not great. Where'd you go last night? Why'd you have a hangover?
Oh, Well, it was my job. I was entertaining others.
Oh, you have to.
It wasn't because I wanted to.
No.
No, we were in Hamburg, Germany,
Uh-huh.
and yeah, well, I like it. And
Yeah.
the kids were great, and yeah, there were some guests, and one thing led to another, and woke up on an airplane today with a big old piece of toast in my hand.
And here we are.
And here we are. This is great.
And here we are. And is this something, if you're listening to this where you're like, I could actually make this at home, would you advise someone that's never made this to give this a go?
Yeah, of course.
It can't be that hard, can it? It's only a little bit.
When you read Fergus's description, like he says, and you need to discipline the parsley. And I looked with Sam and I was going, and John, so there's this guy, Welsh John, who worked for Fergus for 15 years.
That sounds like one of your songs.
Yeah, exactly. And I said, what do you mean discipline
the album
it?
Discipline the Parsley.
Yeah, that should be your next album.
It's out next.
The way he describes it is quite really emotive, and it's just brilliantly written. So, you've got to make things proper.
So can I get these in Waitrose?
You can get the bone marrow in Waitrose. Takes about 10-15 minutes in the oven. Your toasted toast, just rubbed with a bit of oil in a pan.
Pan toasted.
Pan toasted. You see, that's changed your whole thought process.
So much safer than hand toasted.
Yeah, hand toasted.
Very
Hand
dangerous.
toasted.
Very dangerous.
Nicely charred.
Definitely feels more chefy as well.
Very chefy.
More
there
chefy.
you go.
So when you are headlining a festival, do you get like I always think it's quite funny when you see a headliner's area, because you don't just get a dressing room, you get like a compound. It becomes a compound.
Yeah, sure.
You get a compound. Are there things that you're like, I can't possibly headline Download Festival without blah blah blah?
I'm really glad you asked
the
me
rider?
that. So, I always say elitism sucks when I'm not included.
Right.
And so I think... I think that over the years, one of the things that keeps you young, other than injections, is to have a good sense of humor, And so as the years have gone on, and we've had access to more and more outrageous requests being honored,
Yeah.
it starts to make you ask for strange things. Like for a while, I used to ask for chocolate-covered ants and a map of Ireland to be put on the wall. And it would be like, and people would ask me, they'd say, Josh, why do you have chocolate-covered ants and a framed map of Ireland? And I would say, wouldn't you like to know?
Yeah. Mind your business.
Yeah, mind your damn business. More bone marrow. Right?
Just keep it real.
I do think it's nice to have a bit of pizzazz and eccentric. Let your eccentricness, just sort of herniate out every once in a while. I think perhaps it's gross if it's in earnest and too far.
Yeah.
Because then you think, by God, I wish I was in a different room than this person. But it's nice to push the boundaries and try new things, even if it's so simple as setting up an entire Haribo gummy bear war.
Do you get a ride around because you do like a food festival, or when you go and do like Limewood? Do you get a
line was different. You get a lovely
like
room and stuff, but some food festivals you barely get a kitchen. I mean, like, hello,
right.
Where's the rolling bin? It was one
Right.
food festival. I needed to roll pasta, and they literally had no rolling bin, so I had to use the bottle of wine we were supposed to drink on the stage. I adapt.
You adapt.
Yeah, but
you gotta try.
That's a sexy way to adapt.
Yeah, that's good.
If you're like, don't worry about it, I got this.
Bottle of wine.
Rolling your Pinot over their Grigio. And just never break eye contact. There you go, love. You know what I mean? I think you're onto something.
Yeah.
I think you're onto something,
Yeah.
or I might be on something. It's definitely one
Either
or both
one's
of those.
working. It's
on.
fine.
Right?
Something is on. Something is on. We were joking before saying,
Swap it over.
if this
There you
goes
go.
well, Ange might leave Dish and come and be your, personal chef. So there it goes. Not the main yet.
Or I might become your personal guitar player.
Yes.
Yes.
Now we're talking.
Now we're talking. Can you imagine turn up at the restaurant and say, by the way, I've got something to chill you all
Yeah,
out
I need a
on."
knife, I need some flour, and I need a
guitar.
massive amp.
And yeah.
Josh is here. Just get it going in the kitchen.
My heart fluttered when you said massive amp. I just think of you opening up the oven door and me having tunes just for that stuff.
Yeah.
Like, something angelic. And then you open the trash and I was like,
Yeah, exactly.
throw it away. Yeah.
Can we talk about Glastonbury last year? Because I loved the story that I heard of. You were headlining Glastonbury. Great news. But then you find out you're on at the same time that Elton John says, the last time I'm ever going to perform in the UK, ever.
You know what's worse than that?
Thanks,
What?
Elton.
Yeah, nice one, Elton.
Yeah.
It's worse than, thanks, Elton.
Yeah. Selfish.
Very.
Thanks for stopping your career during our show.
Great.
First of all, I love Elton. And which camera can I look in? I'm still going to do your pool in jean shorts, and I promised you, and I'm still going to do it.
What the hell?
Oh, I
What?
feel we need more info
We need
on
more
that.
info on this.
Hello?
What do
Stay
you
out of it,
mean?
guys. This is personal. Anyways, Elton's always been really just the kindest, loveliest. I mean, I realized that when we got to perform together once, he was in an all blue Adidas tracksuit with the same colored blue lenses.
Yeah.
And I thought, God, this mother looking at me, and I look like a Smurf to him. And so, like, with all his kindness and his care, he's also so idiosyncratic. I'm like, what a weirdo. Like, he brought flowers to work with us in the studio, and was like, but it's our studio, He brought flowers. It was amazing.
Wow.
He's always been so kind and lovely
Yeah.
with me. He's such a music fan. And what happened is that they couldn't find anyone that would accept the gig playing against Elton.
Oh, God, of course.
And so I had this experience at Glastonbury before where they said they couldn't find anyone that would play against Beyonce. And I just felt like, oh, why not? And at least when we stop playing in between, I'll be like listening to all my single ladies until this is a little different. So I go backstage to see Elton and say hi, talk about the contract and the hours of doing his pool. And and he jokingly said, enjoy playing to all three of those people tonight. Or I thought he was joking. That's what I thought he was doing.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's such a, it's such a sassy little thing to say, And I was like, whatever, I'll scratch your eyes out. But then I was walking back to the dressing room, and I'm like, hands in my pockets, like, he's such a cheeky little. But then I was like, oh God.
Is it going to be three people?
Well, so to put it into context, when we played with Beyonce, or Bianchi, as I like to call her, like a pet name, we walked out, there was like 65,000 people there.
Yeah.
We had lasers. And that being said, when Elton John is performing for the last time in the UK, ever, we walk out, and don't get me wrong, there was a lot of people, but compared to what I thot it would be, like the 65,000 of Beyonce, like it was 7 people. No, it was like 35,000.
Still pretty.
But not for me, what I'm used to.
Not for Josh.
No, but the space is qualified to hold a much larger
of course.
grouping of people.
Elton, what's he done?
No, and I swear to God, I was like, that some is right over there. and fair play. And I also thought, well, you just cannot say yes to every gig.
But the competition that night, it was Phoenix.
Fierce.
Phoenix.
Oh, I
had
love Phoenix.
another stage as
Yeah.
well. It was Phoenix, Queens of Stone Age, and Elton. But Elton's the last ever one.
Is that's where he did
Do you know
it?
what I
Yeah.
mean? What a little sneak.
Probably playing
Yeah.
next week. It's like,
What a sneak.
actually, it was a joke. I'm playing again.
I
Wow.
saw McCartney there too, and I was like, "What's up, dude?" And he was like, "I'm going to see Elton."
Forget it. I'm just kidding.
Yeah,
He did
thanks.
it. He did.
Thanks
Did
for
you
that,
see him
Paul.
afterwards?
Elton? No, because I was upset.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and rightfully so. I didn't see him after, but the great thing about festivals and shows and art exhibits is like they really do the whole point is to steal moments out of the sky that are up for grabs and make them yours. And the crowd is obliged to do the same thing as well and make the most of their moment, to seize their moment, right? And so it just was a night of that. So it's a little hard to be upset. We had a great show.
Yeah, I'm sure.
And all 17 of the people that saw us just really knew we were way better than
Yeah.
They're like, Nelson, who's he?
They were like, yeah, who is it?
They're like Panda in the Wind. I don't even know what that song means.
What are we doing
Right,
now?
what have we got
What
here?
are
We
eating
have
now?
a fish.
So we got grilled mackerel with beetroot, red onion, and red cabbage salad. And on the side, we've got creme fraiche with toasted coriander and cumin seeds and a touch of horseradish.
This is a recipe and a menu for Josh, right? So
Yeah, I mean, as I said before, fat's my favorite flavor. I'm not much of a sweets guy. I love that salty, savory business.
Yeah,
That's great, by the way.
we all love that.
That's fantastic.
This is so good, Ange.
It's good, isn't it?
You know, it's weird to say this, but boy, do I love the skin.
It's the crispy
I
part.
sound a bit like Jeffrey Dahmer in that moment, but you know what? So do you, so whatever.
It's the best bit. Best
all
bit for
do.
sure.
Oh, it's great.
When you're cooking, do you like cooking, by the way?
I
Yeah?
do. I love to cook.
And do you, what sort of things do you cook? Is this something that you'd make in the
I do a
Josh
lot of
kitchen?
I do a lot of swordfish. I do a lot of fish. I do a lot of salmon, different ways. I think because I've got a really nice grill that gets up to 600 degrees, that really
Is
changes
it a
everything.
proper massive grill out in the garden, sort of big boy desert type?
It's yeah. It's,
Put a camel on there, sort of
yeah,
size grill.
It
Yeah,
comes with a camel inside. Right. Yeah.
I imagine. Yeah.
Yeah, but I just that notion of being able to use
Yeah.
hot heat to really sear things in.
Yeah.
And then let them rest. And it's fun to, well, you know this. You start cooking with people, and you have them chopping up stuff.
Yeah, it's the best bit.
You know, and you play Find My Fingertip, where right?
Yeah, that's a game in the cabbage. Yeah.
Yeah, you like that little game.
I noticed that. Got it.
Yeah, got it. Well
Found
done.
it.
You've won.
And have you always liked cooking? Have you always liked food, or is it something that
You know,
you've...
as a boy, I only ate like meat and potatoes till I was about 12. I had I was not adventurous. You know, I'm probably not the smartest guy in the world, but travel has at least altered that and helped me where I didn't stay too dumb, too much, too long. Big man not know what say. Because I think travel is the way to educate and open people's eyes and take a chance. And when you're a starving musician, you really are starving. And when you're in a foreign land, you're like, what the hell is that?
Yeah.
Like a ding dong, just because you're like, it's not what I'm used to at my house.
Yeah.
It really expands your horizons because you're starving.
Yeah.
And you get the chance to experience something you wouldn't have. So I do like to cook, and I like what it does, bringing people into the fold.
That's an amazing part of the job that we discover on here, innit? When we speak
Yeah.
to people, like musicians who say their favourite bit of touring is actually all they've got to do is think about the show, which they've done. So they're like, cool with that. It's like, what can we eat tonight?
Yeah.
Where can we eat? And
It
they
has
get to go to different places around the world and try different stuff.
And they get in
I
everywhere.
think of Tony quite a bit, and because whenever I would bump into Tony, we'd be out on the road, and that's what you do, and you end up talking to the chefs and standing around, in the kitchen with them.
How did you and Anthony Bourdain meet?
I met Tony in Berlin. It must be like 20 years ago now, but maybe a little more. And his show was it wasn't even done. I don't think. I'm not sure he was done with its first season on Travel Channel. And my friend Joe, who's a promoter as well, but owned part of this restaurant, was like, I have this guy, Anthony Bourdain here. I was like, I think I've heard of that guy. And he's like, he wants to come to the show. And I said, bring him down. And he came to the show at like 4 p.m.
Yeah.
Sound check hadn't even happened. And we stood outside, smoked ciggies, and drank, and made fun of stuff until 2 a.m,
Forgot the show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Missed the show.
Whoa, God.
Where am I supposed to be?
Then we're coming back, I swear. No, I just, we were fast friends, and as was the case, we'd sort of lay our schedules together and say, oh, okay, I'm over here, I'm over here. And and our daughters are the same age.
Nice.
And so we went through some of those things in parallel together, you know. Yeah, and honestly, I felt that he was really coming into his own and becoming who he was.
Yeah.
You know, some people are like, you know, it's getting tattooed, midlife crisis, and all that stuff. It's like, you don't know what you're talking about. It's actually sometimes it takes, you know, half of your life to realize, okay, I actually know who I am now, and I'm doing this.
Yeah, totally.
So,
Did you guys meet Ange?
Yeah, he came to the opening of my first big restaurant.
Did
actually.
he?
Yeah.
What? Where?
When I opened the Connaught Hotel. So
wow.
that was, 20 years ago now, maybe? Yeah, and he came as one of the guests. That's when I met him, yeah. And then you knew him because at the time, not parallels, but he was coming up at the same time Fergus. He was a huge influence on that sort of new cooking. And just as you said, he, you know, there was so much about French cooking, it's precise, you've got to do it exactly like that. Whereas people like Fergus came in and changed all that. They were like, well, actually, no, we're just going to do a bit of mackerel and a cabbage, and that's it. And it doesn't matter if it's not cut properly, as long as it tastes delicious.
Tastes good.
And he was always about that. It was just about fantastic food, and it didn't follow a pattern. Even though his restaurant in New York was that French bistro type of, you know, in the house. It was, you know, so it was a huge influence, I think.
Yeah.
What was funny too, though, is that, you know, I had a lot of crappy meals that Tony cooked. And I don't say that as to be a contrarian or anything.
Yeah.
It's just like, and those crappy meals that for those nights because we were talking.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, I also liked what a nerd he was too. I mean, I think a lot of people saw Tony and saw someone speaking their mind and almost with an aggressive stance.
Yeah.
Willing to say like, well, I can't stand that, which in itself is a gutsy thing that you don't see all the time as someone that's not kissing ass all the time. But also he was kind of a nerd, you know, and he was really into stuff in the same way I think, you know, just music. Where you go, oh my God, oh my God.
Yeah.
Where I thought, calm down, man.
Yeah.
But I think that stuff is really quite cute. It's wonderful to be into something.
Well, he's enthusiastic about things. He wasn't one of these people that just said, yeah, great, you know, there was it was genuine, you know.
He made you feel like you could try something and say, I don't know if I like that. Or,
well, as acerbic as he was, too, we never bonded over what we didn't like.
Right.
Yeah.
That's not the way to bond with people.
No, of course.
Like, I hate this, don't you? There's nowhere to go there. You know, it was in the nerdiness of excitement about, I mean, it's obvious because the show is all about discovery and really the channels really had to take a hands-off approach with a guy like him. Because
let him do his thing.
We need more people like that on TV.
Yeah, totally.
So how do we do this at home, Ange, if we're listening and you're like, do you know what? I actually have Josh Homme coming around for dinner next week and I'd love to recreate that. How to do the grilled mackerel, beetroot and red onion
So
salad.
a whole mackerel, gutted, then basically season it up very lightly.
Gutted. I'm good.
In a grill pan to get the lovely scorched skin, and then in the oven for about 7 minutes, I'd say, a mackerel that size.
And who's gutting this for us? The
Fishmonger or the
guy?
lovely people at Waitrose.
Yeah, okay, cool.
There you go.
So you just go ask them to gut it.
Gut it, keep it whole, and I took the eyes out, but they'll take the eyes out for you if you want.
And then what is this that you made? This is
This is creme fraiche with horseradish, toasted coriander seeds and toasted fennel seeds crushed up. A little bit of lemon juice and seasoning in there. Which way? It's the horseradish. That's what you want, that kick with that fattiness of the fish, you see.
Do you have to do the whole fish or could I do this with a fillet?
You can do it with a fillet, but obviously cook it a lot less if it's just a fillet. Yeah.
All the ingredients for this recipe are available at waitrose.com/dish recipes. The recipe is on there if you want to try it. As is the wine pairing, there's a perfectly matched wine with this mackerel, La Perrière Pouilly-Fumé. If you want to go try that. We should talk about your last album, which came out in June of last year.
It's true.
In Times New Roman, it's called, Josh, just in case you didn't know. And the theme of the album is what I want to touch on, because the theme of the album is, and I quote, "It's the end of the world. What are you going to do with the time you have left?" Angela, you go first.
No, that's
come on,
so unfair.
come on. Well,
if I had the time, the end of it, I would just travel everywhere and see as much of the world as I haven't seen.
wow, okay.
I would, yeah.
I think I just like to watch the telly all day.
It's
No,
the
is that
end of
different?
the world. You're never going to see. That's it.
Yeah,
it's
I've
done.
seen it.
Seen it. I'll send you pictures.
I'll be like,
There's
"Wow."
Ange. She's in the
We're coming to you
Arctic.
from the end of the world
Yeah.
in Dubai, you know, Dublin,
Yeah, exactly.
Fresno,
Like
Seattle.
New Year's Eve.
Now that's a televisual event. That'd be fantastic. What about new records? Not under pressure. Will we have a new album soon?
Well, I spent there was too much time in between the last record and this one, and I think, you know, the goal is to make things and enjoy that process, and so I'm gonna roll up my sleeves and jump
Get
right
busy.
into this. Yeah.
I mean, I guess you're not doing it when you're the start of an album making process, but you collaborate with so many people. Do you have
Yeah.
how does that happen? Is that like a bump into them at festivals? Like we should do something? Is it like a DM situation? Is there a hit list in your
I have a
bedroom?
bingo roller.
A bingo roller. I thought it was your bingo roller.
I think that the reason I've collaborated with so many different people is because when the moment has come up, I've really enjoyed the moment and immersed myself in that and thought, this is it. This is the final moment. And I honestly think that sort of outlook has made those moments go well, and it propagates more of them and happening because, you know, this sort of collaboration with people, I've always had a really good time, and they have too. And that's the sort of word that travels fast and that begets more of that collaboration and those type of that positive friction, you know?
Yeah.
So I hope, or at least I hope that's what it is.
Have you ever been in a situation, and maybe you have, Ange, as well,
gosh.
where
Ange?
where like anyone's ever been like, we should work together, and you're like, you don't want to, but you're
Yeah.
like, yeah.
What do you do?
Like, how do you? I guess you've got to say yeah to their face.
Yeah.
No, I'm.
So when would
No,
you like me
no.
to start?
You
I think
can't,
that's why.
you can't say. You can't say no. Like surely, if you don't, I don't know, the Grammys or something,
Yeah.
someone's like, we should get in the studio together.
Yeah.
You've
Oh
got
my
to
God.
go.
I'm realizing why I have like sort of a mixed reputation
Well, you do say no.
because I'll be like, oh nah, you know, because I think it's I don't know, I think
Nah.
the you know the arts are really really important. It's so hard to say or play how you feel. It's so hard to express how you really feel, and it's important and it matters. It matters, but so I don't. There's certain things where I think, oh, I don't know if I want to do that, and I'd hate to say like, yeah. It's okay not to like something too.
Yeah, of course.
It's not okay to be mean about it because it's not really necessary. But I do think I'm just thinking right now of a couple times where someone's like, hey, will you play my record? And my response would be like, oh, no. and it's not even because I'm thinking like, it's not about being better than, it's just like, maybe in that moment it's just like, oh, I just kind of don't feel like doing that at all.
We come to the end of the show question, Josh.
Ooh,
There
We're
you
going to
go.
provide
it's
you
hard.
right.
I know
Yeah.
my nickname.
Yeah.
The bag says tart on it.
Yeah,
for
it's
those
lovely.
listening. Okay, for your chance to win the Waitrose tart bag, everyone knows.
Stop calling me that.
Your tart bag. Everyone knows that Dave Grohl is the nicest guy in rock.
Oh, is that so?
Yeah.
Yeah, a legend.
But for the benefit of the Dish Crew and our listeners, tell us just how nice Dave Grohl is. Is he the nicest guy in rock and roll? What's the nicest thing he's done for you?
Yeah.
Oh, well, I mean, hold on, let me crawl up in his ass real quick.
Yeah,
No,
come on.
no, no one's done more for me in my career as a mouthpiece of just telling people, you got to hear this guy than Dave has. And you know, I'm biased. I have a really special relationship, and it's predicated on telling each other to shut up. You know, because you need someone to say that's ridiculous and be honest with you. And I love Dave's dark side too. He's a sick little booger, you know. And so he's definitely told the world about me and my vast and endless well of talent. And he's always been like a brother. I've known him since I was 19.
Wow.
And he does need to shut up sometimes.
Yeah. Okay, he's
But
nice.
don't we all?
Yeah.
Amazing. You've been
Josh,
brilliant.
that's been amazing.
Thank
Round of
you.
applause for Josh Homme, everybody.
Thank you.
Josh, that was so fun. Thank you.